Podcast is here, baby.
This is not Facebook Live.
After another winning week, welcome, ladies and gentlemen,
We won.
to the Back Yourself Podcast. This is not an NBA podcast, thankfully. It's an NFL one, and it's another winning week on Premium for us. An interesting week in the books. We can call it a favourites round. I'm sure, Chris, you can put that in the title of this video, because of the 15 games that we've played, 14 of the favourites won. Conveniently, the only one that didn't was Saints, and I think at worst you can put them pick them for the rest of the year. There's no situation where they should ever be favourites. And Carolina of War came to town. And I suppose storyline-wise, narratively, if there is a week where only one underdog wins, obviously it had to be those imbeciles. So I hit lock of the week on Jets of War. Barely felt like a win watching those inbreds, which I'll get to them shortly. I feel like it's worth recapping that game because a lot happened. And obviously the sharp but blunt for the 55th week in a row hits as well. Thank you, Tampa Bay. But close but no cigar on the money line. Obviously, you can't overcome Chiefs. So yeah. You may as well just write 17-0 and they're just going to win every other game for the rest of the existence of this garbage sport, apparently. Mm-hmm. But Chris, how are you feeling, man, after week 9 of the NFL? A little bit past the halfway mark now officially, with 17 weeks in this sport. It's good it's
at 5 a.m. I wish we could back a few more winners, but
I felt
Green Bay, you fucking quitters.
I felt a bit more awake this week, which felt strange to me, but shout out to Daylight Savings. But yes, Green Bay, why did you quit? That's my million.
Why did you go 6-2 to quit? That's my question.
Yeah, well, you can't overcome Lions either. It looks like a crash course for those pricks to meet in the Super Bowl, but obviously this is the fun part of the season, in my opinion. We get a week-to-week analysis of each dog shit team, and we start with two horrific teams. On Thursday Night Football, the Houston Texans fell to the might of the New York Jets, who refused to score to open this game. Punt. The Jets defense came to play, forced a fumble on CJ Stroud, got home against that pathetic offensive line, and took the ball all the way down to the Houston 1 yard line and just let go of the ball and just allowed the ball to hit the floor.
Throw the ball on the floor.
I try and keep my emotions intact while I watch these games, but I was a bit livid when I saw that, especially considering that, they force another Houston punt. Jets punt it back, give it to Houston on their 2 yard line, and they're running around the stadium like they won the comp, and I'm like, Houston's going to go on a 98-yard touchdown drive, aren't they? And that's exactly what they did. And CJ Stroud was overcoming a lot of blitz pressure early in this game. Jets were getting home with 4. Quinnen Williams looked possessed. And Rodgers probably had a historically terrible first half. But they came out possessed in the second half. Obviously, the connections to Garrett Wilson, who, I don't know,
how he caught that.
How he caught multiple catches in that game, let alone that end zone one where, look, the cover for his first touchdown, coverage was pretty tight. He just sticks an arm out, it falls in his hand, and he takes it into the end zone. Well played. And the second one where he does the splits in the end zone and the ball's like this, I was like, all right, these cunts have finally woken up, and this guy's turned into Jordan. And you get the trifecta late at the game with on 3rd and long, where Houston probably think that Jets are going to milk the clock out, and Rodgers says, I've seen this before, pegs the ball at Devontae, who finally did something, and he takes it into the end zone, and the Jets win this game by 8 in the end. I think Houston takes some dog shit penalty. Not penalty goal. This is not NRL. They take a field goal to cut it to 8, and then they quit after that once the game concluded. So the Jets hit home in the minus 1.5, 2.5, whatever you laid. But the intricate details of how this fucking awful this game was, between the Jets touchdown that wasn't a touchdown, the Houston field goal kicker missing 2 field goals, one from 20 yards out. Come on, son, you got to make that. But
you have to make that, bro. Come on.
In the end, I would say the right team won and the right team covered. Not because Jets are good, and a lot of the analysis heading into this game was Jets aren't good, but
they still.
I think the world's starting to see that this Houston team is just really running out of players at this point, and you saw that.
They're not that good.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, I never rated Houston, and for them to be the only team now, well, I guess Buffalo, but the only team now to have actual competition against Chiefs, fucking pretty poor from
That's really bad.
Yeah.
As far as the AFC goes.
Yeah, so, Baltimore, but obviously I'm only excluding Baltimore because, Lamar. But overall, Texans are just awful, and it really, obviously it's a game that they can lose, but they're kind of going on a slide, especially playing fucking Detroit, who don't lose to anyone next week. So it's a bit of a slide for them. Jets, now you can't have hope. Let's see what you guys do with it. The defense, it seems like when you play a competent quarterback, all of a sudden they show up, but they play some degenerate and then they quit.
Yeah.
So knowing that they play Kyler, he's a degenerate, they're going to play like idiots. But
he's a degenerate. Is Kyler a degenerate?
Yeah, of course. I mean, if he doesn't, I'm talking about like CJ Stroud, Allen, anyone that's decent, they play good against.
Yeah.
Anyone that's like not that good, they play like garbage.
Yeah.
And the defense showed up. Obviously, he didn't have too many weapons, but they got to him so quickly. It was actually insane. So I don't know if they've woken up and realized Mo isn't there. So then now they're like, oh fuck, we have to figure it out on our own. But defense did look much better. Let's just see if it continues. At the end of the day, fuck Jets. So
you're still off him even after.
Oh yeah, who cares?
So what did Jets have to do for you to be like, oh okay, like
if they beat Buffalo in Buffalo, then I'm on them again.
Oh, okay, so it's going to be a while.
Well,
them beating Kyler
that's the only way they're going to make a chance in the playoffs anyway. If they have to beat Buffalo in Buffalo, so that's it. Well, I don't care about this noise.
I hope when that fixture comes around, there's something to play for, and they haven't like quit the Cardinals and some other rats since then. But look, Jets, you can't got to win. I will say, like when I watch this Jets team, they are the number one team of. They can't all play good at the same time, right? When the offense plays gun, the defense play like degenerates. When the defense played like degenerates, Rodgers fucking turns into a gun. When both of them are playing garbage, the special teams also plays garbage, and then they lose to Patriots, right?
Yeah.
So if they can figure it all out and everything works together,
they're actually good.
Like Breece Hall, Devontae, this fucking Garrett Wilson,
Jordan.
Rodgers when he has a bit of time to throw, all that like pressure on the front, the secondary with like Pro Bowl level players, like you're starting to see that, okay, there's some snaps where they play good, but I think the coaching and the culture is too fucking garbage for them to actually do anything long term, but at least they got to win.
Maybe they'll wake up. We'll see.
Now we move on to the 5 a.m. slot where I'll just start with some rapid fire ones that like really didn't give a shit about. The Dolphins covered for me, the 6.5.
That was a great game.
I think like it was actually a great game. It was what you expected out of a division rivalry matchup. Both teams made a lot of plays back and forth to get this all the way into 27 all, and then Allen closes his eyes, pegs the ball 40 yards downfield, and they get a pass interference call. And from then, don't really get that many yardage, but Johnny kicks a 63-yard field goal to send Miami essentially to the brink of, all right, you guys can quit on the season now. I think it showed a lot of character out of Miami that they went there, didn't quit. They tried as best as they could. Achane was running wild all over the Buffalo defense, which I would say like that was probably a question mark for me going forward with these cunts that, all right, like you let Ravens run all over you, you let Dolphins run all over you. Is there going to be a problem when it gets to the playoffs? But we said, look, if Buffalo win this game, essentially by the week 9 mark, they're going to have their division wrapped up. They've already beaten Jets and Dolphins, and they're 4 games clear of both of these losers. So, not much more to say about this one. Dolphins, I think it's time to run out Snoop, and conversely, Buffalo, like, just keep on keeping on.
I agree. Run out Snoop. It's over. You had to win, and you didn't. 2-7. You're not going to make the playoffs. You guys are done. So, as far as I'm concerned, make sure Tua's healthy for next year and make sure he's all right. I would not drop him, but just take him out of the lineup and put Snoop back in. And it doesn't get any easier next week because you got to go to Rams. Good luck. So, and especially that game, like the Rams front has actually been playing pretty good. So watch out Tua if he's playing. I think they should take him out, but we'll see.
Any thoughts on the Buffalo side of things, mate? Just
same old. But I think like it's going to end up they're going to have to play Ravens or Chiefs. I can't see it. And I don't think they can beat either of those teams right now. They're the third best team. They're better than Texans, but I just don't think they have the talent, to be honest, to actually do anything. Look, the Buffalo team last year, like, were better than this.
They were,
And everyone rated them better, so I don't see how this team can be any higher than last year's team.
Yeah.
You could argue, okay, Chiefs and Ravens are a little bit shitter, but they don't look like, especially Chiefs. I mean, they haven't lost yet, so... they still look shit, but they're 8-0. So, can you say much about the Chiefs?
No, not all there. No, you can't.
Exactly. So, yeah, I don't really say much about Buffalo. They did what they needed to do, and they've been very good in these tight games, mostly. They've won a lot of them. You could argue if they'd lost this and then lost the Jets game, they would be in a bit more trouble than where they are, but they didn't, and they've won, and now they've pretty much locked up the division. And, the worst comes to worst, maybe they get a wild card spot. But that is now only left to Jets. But they just lost the Patriots, so anything could happen with those idiots. So
yep.
Division is theirs, which is good for them. Just see how many wins they can get. And at the moment, they're in front of Ravens. So technically, that would be the second seed. So it's pretty good.
Yep. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans and the New England Patriots. I mean,
one of the biggest
worst
games ever.
Toilet bowl fixtures. But I will say, like, Tennessee, officially the worst team against the spread, which is saying a lot considering you're a +10, whatever, every week. In the end, should you have been laying 3.5?
Oh,
I would say yes. Because actually, like, how this game played out, there was no reason for this to go to overtime. But if I want to spin this in a positive light, is it looks like the Patriots actually have a quarterback in the building.
Yeah, it looks good.
Like, Jacoby, obviously, he's just a bridge quarterback. He's a statue, and you're just putting him in there to protect Drake May from himself. And he does somewhat need to wake up that you're not a fucking running back, Johnny. Like, if you're going to rush for the first down, there's no need to, like,
Slide.
get smashed by 3 linebackers at once, because you're just not going to last in the NFL doing that long term. But at the point where he fumbled and Tennessee put it in the end zone, they were up 17-10. And you knew there was 2 minutes left. Like, it was refreshing to see this guy go on a 2-minute drive at, what is he had 2 starts in this league, coming off concussion protocol, that he could actually take this horrific Patriots team 80 yards, and on 4th down with 10 seconds to go in the game, scramble and have 3 Tennessee players hit him at the same time and peg the ball into Demario Douglas where they score a touchdown. And I want to say this is a common theme of the week, in my opinion, Chris, and we saw it tonight in the Chiefs game, but these inbred teams, like, why the fuck do you guys not go for 2 at the end of the game? Like, why are you playing for the tie knowing that you guys suck ass? In my opinion, like, all right, you have 2 wins. You were projected to be the worst team in the league. All the momentum's on your side, right? The defense has been on the field for like 10 snaps in a row, chasing Drake May and not fucking getting a hand on him. How are you more likely to go to overtime and win as opposed to just going for the 2-point attempt, knowing that this guy's like... I would say, like, Drake May in that drive, Chris, showed me a lot that these other quarterbacks that keep getting paid they haven't shown me. Like, I know Dak did it against Pittsburgh, but generally he's not someone I would trust on a 2-minute drive. Same with Tua, same with Herbert, same with Trevor Lawrence. Like, these guys getting $50-60 million a year. Love. Like, I don't trust him, but May, I know it's only early on in his career, but he showed me something, driving that, like, god-awful Patriots team into overtime. And, like, he's not scared of the moment. He threw that fucking terrible interception in the... Once they actually got to overtime, and, maybe he could have got them down there if he was playing more conservative, got them a draw. But what fucking good does a draw do for these losers at the end? Like, who gives a fuck? So, Tennessee are absolutely awful. And the fact they even allowed Patriots to go to overtime with them show how terrible they are. But they're terrible, right? And they've gotten rid of fucking Hopkins, which conveniently they sent him to Kansas City, and they're just like trading players away. So they're building towards the future. I don't think they'll be good for a while. And same thing with Patriots, but at least
future levers.
At least Patriots. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no end. Like, they need to draft the quarterback, right? At least with Patriots, you could say, I think we got our guy.
Yeah, that's true. Look, I'll ask you a question, Hussein. You think Chiefs, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Green Bay, San Fran would have gone for 2 in that possession?
No.
I think they would have.
Okay. Okay.
In the context of they've been on the field, this guy's gone up 80 yards, scored a 4th down fourth down and scored the touchdown.
Yeah.
There's no reason to take him off.
Yeah.
Which you could argue coaching, but I think it's more like actually having the confidence in your quarterback. For both these teams, right? And this is where, like, I'll talk shit about Patriots. What the fuck is it any good losing in overtime? Or winning in overtime? Or losing in regular time? What's the difference? You guys suck anyway. I mean, 2-7 or 3-6 is the same shit.
Yeah.
Right? And there's no reason not to go for 2. And I think the good teams would have gone for 2.
I know for a fact Baltimore, Lions, I think Pittsburgh probably don't. But generally, like what you're saying, Chris, the teams with the best quarterbacks and the good head coach, Buffalo definitely would give it to Allen and be like, put it in the end zone. But like you said, Chris, there's nothing to gain from even going to overtime and winning. So you may as well just like see what you have in Drake May and just give him a chance to win the game.
These guys must be... Well, it doesn't matter. They clearly don't like the spread at all.
Yeah.
They would have covered. If they went for 2, they win, lose or draw, it was a 2. They would have covered.
Yeah. If you were on the Patriots +3, you were like, please go for the 2, because Out like Tennessee in overtime just went boom, 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 got to the 10-yard line, and then
started kneeling.
not Mariota, whatever the fucking dingo.
Rudolph.
He fumbled the snap, right? Otherwise, they actually punch it in and cover, and Patriots are like, fuck's sake. Like, we didn't even cover. But, yeah, just a bit of food for thought there. I don't think there's any reason to go on with this game any longer.
Yeah, thank God.
NFC East matchup. The Washington Commanders win again, cover again. The force of nature that they are. The spread goes all the way out to 4.5 against the New York Giants, and they cover it by 0.5 point. I guarantee Washington didn't even try for 5 minutes in this game. And I actually think Giants outplayed them, out-hustled them. They just had all the wrong things not go in their direction. And I think this is the indicative of the garbage that happens in this sport where the same pricks keep covering every week is, it's not Lions that throw the pick six, it's Green Bay. And it's not fucking Commanders that fumble it on the 10-yard line, it's Giants. And it's not Commanders that get called for offensive pass interference, it's Giants.
Or Chiefs.
And when the spreads go down to like 0.5 point, 1 point, this is the reason that, you have Lions, as public as they've become, 8-1 against the spread, Commanders 7-1 against the spread. And it just seems like it's going to continue at this point. Giants, I felt like you guys definitely should have covered. You could have won. Even at the end of the game when Danny Dimes had the ball in his hands, could have got a backdoor cover, but same garbage as the Steelers game. You just throw some shit pick or just can't make enough plays. So
yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, we know Washington's good and we know Giants aren't good. It was probably more of a situational handicap, but Washington keep on racking up.
They wanted not to cover, and because of their games coming up, they play Steelers and then they play Eagles. They've got two bigger fish to fry than fucking Giants, and that's why they wanted not to win. And they still won.
Yeah.
Doesn't look... maybe it's a bit bleak for future state, but we'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, Giants, I thought, gave it their all.
They tried, yeah.
But again, like I said in the earlier thing, these lines with Giants are just too low, clearly.
Yeah.
And this would have been a different... The line should have actually been 6
yeah.
And they would have covered it. And people would have been on it, and people would be like, all right, we won on Giants. And they've done enough to cover. But because you motherfuckers keep putting it at 3 every fucking week, only this week on the day it started pushing out to 4.5. Of course they're going to keep covering it. They literally lose every game at home by at least 5.
Yeah.
They've lost one more in the other 2 games.
Yeah.
So I think officially they've woken up.
Yeah.
Because they were so close. Now they're like, fuck, if that was just 6, they would have covered.
Yeah. But genuinely, if Commanders wanted to, they could have won by 14, 17 easily.
But it's a good spot that they didn't have to try because they have other games.
Is it a point of the season now, Chris, now that we're in week 10, where you're thinking to yourself, Jaden Daniels is actually just good?
Yeah, he is.
There's no he's a rookie, he's this, he's that, he's just good.
But the defense will let him down.
The Commanders one?
Eventually it will let him down.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait, but it will let him down.
So you're saying the defense is not great, right?
Nah, it's not.
These guys are 7-2. So, what does that say about how fucked up Jaden Daniels is?
He's so good.
I know. What the hell?
His offensive scheme is incredible.
He looks like a 15-year veteran. He just never puts the ball in harm's way. He completes anything, scores touchdowns on every drive. This kid's incredible.
But their offense is their defense right now. We've said it for a couple of weeks. When their defense starts leaking too many points, especially against the good teams, we're going to have a different story.
But we saw it against Ravens, right?
Yeah.
They had to really try and get a backdoor cover against them at 7.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll see more against Pittsburgh and Philly in the next couple of weeks. But at the moment, with how retarded Philly look and Dallas quitting on the year, these guys, as you said in week 3, Chris, look probably like the front runners to win the division. That doesn't look like such a crazy take anymore.
Yeah.
What did seem like a crazy take was Chris saying Panthers of War are coming to play, and Panthers of War came to play. The only underdogs to win in week 9 of the NFL. Chris, talk to me about Bryce Young bringing it home for yourself.
Listen, Bryce Young had to do something. That's simple as that. Look, the coaching staff of the Panthers came out early in the week and said, we trust this kid. I wouldn't, but anyway, they do. And that seemed like it gave him a little more confidence. And for a rookie that is a number 1 overall pick, I can't believe I'm saying that he needs confidence. But when your team says to you, look, we know you're garbage. We know you suck ass. We know we can't score. We're still going to trust you. I feel like that gives him just a little bit more confidence. But you have to take it with a caveat because they played Saints. And let me get to them. One of the biggest, if not the biggest, quit job I've seen in the NFL in the time I've watched it. 2-0, 2-7. 7 straight losses.
Yeah.
Yes, they had injuries. But from the time they pumped Dallas, where the world was like, who the
Saints
fuck
are
is
possessed,
these
yeah.
guys? And week 3, someone has to get the ESPN clips out. Carr was the second favorite for MVP with Sam Darnold.
Same shit every year.
And I actually, it's just drop off. And what broke their back is them losing a game. And we'll get to another team. But this team is actually good. But they might have the same nucleus at the end of the day, because that one game to Philly where they were literally so good and they still lost because of their offense has capitulated the whole season.
Agreed.
I can't see if they're 3-0 to get to this point. It would never happen.
Yeah,
but
agreed.
they lost that, and then it was just a fucking domino effect. Cunts getting injured, and then couldn't win a fucking game, lost the Falcons game, and over.
Yeah, so their season is absolutely in the dirt where it belongs, and Saints obviously firing Dennis out, because like if you list the Panthers, you have to make a change, right? Like there's no reason to give those guys a win, and hilariously they actually have the same record as them now. So that just shows like the drop off of scoring 90 points in the first 2 weeks to now losing the Panthers. Like
now are they going to fire up?
Where did it go so wrong for these guys? I mean, this is fucking pitiful.
You need to answer my question. Now they're going to fire up.
This is the review, sir, not the preview. Obviously, we'll talk.
But
about
I love Saints.
All right, now talking about teams that matter.
Falcons played.
The Baltimore Ravens beat the absolute shit out of Denver, as I asked them to do. To like, you know what I love about this Ravens team, Chris? These annoying like rat teams
they all go there and get
that
popped.
cover like 4 or 5 times in a row, and you think like, oh yeah, they did it to Commanders, they did it to Dallas, they did it to all these pricks. Then you go and see a spread of, oh, why are Denver getting 8.5 points? That's so much. They've won 3 games. They beat Saints and they beat Panthers. How is this plus 8.5? That's why it's 8.5, baby. Lamar fucking Jackson went and torched these boys. 41 points on you bitches. And honestly, Bo Nix played all right. Like, this guy was running around like he was in his backyard, pegging the ball at his receivers. But obviously, Ravens were too much for them. And now it's that time of the week where I make an official formal plea to these guys. Because,
please beat Chiefs.
All right, listen now. The Chiefs won again. And in the totality of the AFC, we'll talk about Lions another day because they're juggernauts as well. But I've heard juggernauts out of the NFC the past couple of years that keep fucking it up. But in the AFC, look, Joe Burrow doesn't have a coach. Josh Allen has no players on his team. And Houston have no players either, unfortunately due to injury. So we for all you Chiefs haters, which I'm the banner holder of Chiefs hatred, the only team we can rely on to put an end to this fucking domination is Lamar Jackson and this Ravens team. And whoever's been paying attention, this is not the Lamar Jackson of his previous MVP seasons. He can actually throw the ball and throw it at a very high level now. And I genuinely believe this Ravens offense can score 40 against anyone. And if there's anyone that's going to go into Arrowhead come January, go there and actually get a win, it's not Allen, it's not Burrow, it's not CJ Stroud, it's not Aaron Rodgers. God, it's definitely not him. It's Lamar Jackson. So please, Ravens, keep the foot on the throttle and don't back down to these guys come January. Thank you. That's my take.
You were wrong. I'm off them because they still might not make the playoffs.
Are you on bags?
Jets are the only team that can beat Chiefs.
That's just stupid.
Both sides of the ball, if both sides of the ball play like human beings, they can beat them. And
no way.
They can.
Okay.
They can.
What?
Genuinely, they can. I don't believe it will happen, but they can.
What gives Jets a better chance of beating them than Ravens?
Because of Lamar. I know. Look, I know. Other than Burrow, the whole AFC will back down to Mahomes.
He won't. I promise you.
He has. History has.
No, he has, right?
But there's one quarterback that will not back down to him outside of Burrow. Rodgers will never back down to him.
He will.
Nah, he won't.
He's just incapable.
He's incapable, but he won't back down.
Lamar won't back down to him.
He has, though.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing has proven that he hasn't.
Yeah, but those Chiefs teams were actually good. This Chiefs team sucks ass.
Burrow beat them when they were actually the best.
Yeah, I know, but Burrow
doesn't back down.
He can't even beat Patriots now.
Look, we'll get to Chiefs later, but they're not actually good. But everyone just backs down to them.
I know. Ravens won't. They want blood.
I will believe it when I see it because I've heard this story a million times with Baltimore. And to be honest, They're not even in the driver's seat of their own division. If they fuck it up this week coming to Bengals and somehow Steelers win again, they're not going to even win the division.
Yeah, but that's fine.
That's not fine.
It's fine.
So you're going to not win the division,
because at the end of
go
the day,
on the road,
yeah,
beat whoever the fuck you're playing, and then have to go to Arrowhead later.
Yeah.
No.
Lamar's shown that he can beat every other loser. That's fine.
Look, I don't think it's going to be Ravens if someone's going to beat Chiefs. It's going to be some dick.
I'll take any dick. But
I actually think it will be one of the
I have no hope in any of the other dicks, but I do believe in Lamar. Anyway, Broncos, look, fair enough. You played a team that's much better than you. You tried as hard as you could. You're running trick plays. You're running the ball, running quarterback draw. You did everything you could, but you just don't have the players to go and match it with Lamar. Fair enough.
They didn't play bad either.
They didn't play terrible, but I think like Lamar on his day with that offense can just blitz anyone. So that's pretty much what happened in this one.
Next.
Baltimore.
No. Falcons.
Falcons of War. I made a big mistake taking Dallas.
They're quitters.
I would take 3.5 again, to be honest, because Falcons are no gods themselves, but Dallas really. I want to say this is a microcosm for their season. They really imploded in this game, and when McCarthy went for it on special teams, 4th and 5 in his own 30-yard line, I was like, yeah, these cunts have given up. So Prescott gets hurt in this one. Unfortunately, we didn't have Parsons run out there, but
don't worry, this week is coming.
It looks like even CeeDee Lamb is dead as well with a shoulder injury. So I would really be like, there's no way Dallas can get another win, is there, Chris?
Listen, first of all, unfortunately, our segments are no longer. We can't have the same team twice. Otherwise, Dallas would have been sharp up blunt. Because last week it was, and it would have been the same. Because I couldn't. My ears were bleeding. My ears started bleeding from him, from the whole ESPN cast, from everyone on Fox Sports. That Dallas plus 3.5 is value. But what cunts don't understand is they're quitters. They quit. Yeah. That's their problem. It's not that they're not good. That you can clearly see they come back in 90% of these games.
Yes.
They quit at certain points of the game. That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
And they quit. For no reason, he calls a play to win the game when he should have just punted the ball. Mm-hmm. Clearly, he doesn't believe in his defense at all. And then when he doesn't complete it, of course the defense is going to fucking implode. You didn't trust them when they to punt the ball and get him, keep him in Atlanta's half of the field. And of course, they're going to come on and be like, yeah, we're going to play gangster for you, McCarthy. That's not going to happen, you dumb fuck. Seriously. How is this cunt not fired?
Yeah, he will be. He won't make it.
Unbelievable. Anyway, they might have a chance next week because they have no players and there's new blood in the team. That's going to be my take. But Atlanta, look, you cunts aren't good. I don't know what the fuck you're doing on defense because you actually have talented players. To have no pressures whatsoever, wake up.
Yeah. Well, what the fuck's Dallas doing on offense to allow 4 sacks to this Falcons team?
The other problem is, now that Atlanta has basically won the division, you're going to not see the best Atlanta for a bit of a while until they get to the playoffs. Because when they get to the playoffs, whoever comes to Atlanta, it's going to be a difficult task.
Don't worry, you won't see the best of them in the playoffs either.
No. But again, coming to Atlanta is not going to be easy. So, similar to like Tampa last year when Philly had to go to Tampa. Obviously, Philly were quitters, but it's not going to be like that. But Falcons are going to be definitely like my eye opener in the playoffs because no one's going to go there and make it easy.
Well, actually, you bring up an interesting point, Chris, because we said it in the Buffalo game that, look, these cunts have pretty much won the division, and it's pretty much the same for Falcons at this point. Saints have quit, Panthers have quit, and Tampa
is going to get
off a fucking overtime loss like that, and losing 2 games to Falcons, like, there's no reason.
And they have no players.
And they have no players as well. By default, kind of, Falcons just been given this division, so I think you in a week-to-week basis, you'll get a good opportunity to fade them at some point. I felt like this week was a good one. In hindsight, it wasn't because Dallas is just fucking like imploding. But going forward, maybe something to look into. I got to give a shout out to Kirk Cousins. This cunt's actually gone.
I was gonna say something about him, but anyway,
is he not actually like genuinely good? Like he's so reliable, and he's done it at Vikings, he's done it at Washington. Now he's in Atlanta, and he just doesn't like really make dreadful errors. I know he had the fumble in this game where they got to him, but. You know, you give him good targets and he finds them consistently. And that's all you can ask out of this guy. He can't even run anymore because his fucking Achilles tore. But, you know, Kirk's pretty competent. And that's all you can really ask for him at this point of the season, I'd say.
I've got a new take.
What are you thinking, champion?
This is my take. This is for you. Kirk's going to play his team in the playoffs, isn't he? Vikings will get a wild card and they're going to go to Atlanta. Book it in right now. it's like scripted that Kirk will have to play his old team in a playoff match in Atlanta, book it in. Because Atlanta's going to have a home game. Vikings look like they're going to get a wild card. And for whatever reason, the world is going to have some magical dust. Make sure these two play each other. And probably Rams will play Detroit again for the 50th time.
For the 50th time, yeah.
But yeah.
Yep, that's fantastic. That's great. Moving on.
Who else played?
There's two more. I know both of them.
I don't.
Jameis, I think Jameis just threw another pick. That's his fourth one.
I don't want to talk about Chargers.
Look, okay, Chargers.
They're not good.
Your defense is fucking really good, to be honest. And for a team that all I've heard is, look, we're gonna put 100 first round picks into our offensive line. What's the point? This guy got sacked 9 times anyway. So Chargers are nothing to me, and Browns, I still like you guys, but it's just a nothing burger of a season for you.
Why did they beat Ravens?
That's the issue.
This sport is just...
I think that AFC North, there's weird voodoo shit going on in there where the divisional games, if I'm pretty sure there was a stat, Chris, in the last 20 years, if you just bet the money line of the underdog when the AFC North play each other, your ROI is 97% or something.
They all win.
Because it's just a different, everything's different.
Nothing matters.
Exactly.
It's like one of those rivalry games in football. It's doesn't matter.
Yeah. You'll really get up for it. And I feel like the Browns were up for this one, but just offensively, the execution was just not there. And the Chargers team, they suffocate you. And if they're willing to, play just normal football from the 1950s until you fuck it up, and then they win the games that way. And so far, every team they've played that's, retarded, they've beaten. And every competent team they've lost to. So that's pretty much...
Because Herbert's not that good, so...
And in fairness to Herbert, he really has nothing to throw to either. So that's pretty much how I see this game. I don't think we should waste any more time talking about Browns or Chargers for that matter. And we can move on to another game where we probably don't need to spend too much time. And I told the world that I know this team. And they went there and gave up.
Raiders.
The Raiders, I'd said you can only try for so long when you fucking have no players.
They tried, though.
And they tried again, but... all it takes is one little thing to fuck up for them, and then they're all right, we'll give up. But when they see Mahomes, obviously they see the bounty on him, so they don't stop trying until the final whistle blows. But Bengals, you get no credit for raping these guys. It's fucking Raiders.
This is a classic win for Bengals, so then they have hope. That's all it is.
Yeah.
They're actually not that good.
But sharp or blunt, if I had it last week, it would have been on Raiders +8 or whatever.
No, I thought it was sharp.
Everybody was like, how can you put Bengals -8.5?
I did say that, but...
I know, because people don't realize about Raiders, what I know about them.
Because now that I've figured out our issue, I have to say it on 2-week delay. Because I know when Bengals quit, the week after they're going to play good. If they're really awful, they won't play good for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Similar to Jets.
They take a while to charge up.
It's unbelievable. Will they charge up again?
But yeah, I think this also...
got into the
interesting. For a 41-24 scoreline, I didn't even see this on Redzone more than twice.
What was on Redzone every 2 seconds? Baltimore in the first half.
Oh, Baltimore!
Get off my screen!
No, not Baltimore. Denver. Those guys owned Redzone and got killed anyway. Dolphins had a fair bit of on Redzone. Every Jameis pick was
Giants on I don't even see a snap.
Yeah, I don't know what they were broadcasting, to be honest. But anyway, we move on to the 8 a.m. slot, which got very, very cooked very quickly, especially spread-wise. Philadelphia go up 22-0 against Jacksonville, only win 28 to 23. 28 to 23 in the end.
28-23, some garbage.
AJ Brown goes off injured. Nick Sirianni's genuinely lost the plot. And if you listen close enough, you can hear him. He just went for another 2-point conversion. So I don't know what's wrong with this guy.
If he got all of them,
I know they're fucking cover, right? But... the tush-push doesn't work anymore, and Eagles, they're just not that good.
They're not that good. Yeah. They're not. And the tush-push doesn't work. It really pissed me off. But of course, fucking Tennessee get 2-point conversion.
Tennessee?
Jacksonville. I'll fucking strangle Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, yeah.
Because when Trevor needed to win the game, he fucks it up.
He threw such a bad pick.
And why come back if you're going to just go fuck it up, you shit cunt?
Yeah.
Fuck me. Hate Trevor. Huh? God, Baker would never do that.
Yes.
We'll get to him later.
So I think in hindsight, I would lay 7 again. There was no reason for Jacksonville are a terrible team. Genuinely terrible team to go down 23-0 to these guys.
The fact they have 2 wins is incredible.
Is just unfathomable in my mind. But this is the second week in a row now where they pointlessly covered to Green Bay, and now they also pointlessly covered to fucking...
So you would assume that there is one quit job coming.
And they won both games in London?
Yeah.
Well, they got raped by Bears. But they raped Patriots as well. So they're actually on like a bit of a hot streak covering-wise, which pissed me off. But yeah, where would Eagles be without Saquon? This cunt did a reverse hurdle over one of the linebackers. Insane. That's one of the craziest fucking things I've ever seen.
Also, where was this at Giants?
Well, in Giants, he was too busy getting tackled in the fucking backfield. So fair play. But yeah, if anything happens to Saquon, this Eagles, like, they're so bad.
Don't worry, it might happen next week. Parsons will get him.
Parsons might get to him. But yeah, Sirianni, like, again, I really don't think he's going to be there next year. This guy's fucking just a massive goofball, in my opinion. We can move on to my team. The Back Yourself Bowl actually goes in my favor. Unfortunately, we didn't get a trophy arrived here in time.
No, we don't want a trophy.
But if there was one, it would be of the Arizona Cardinals logo, because these cunts, amongst everything else, essentially what you need to know is they three-peated, which seemed like to break science, but they did it, and I'm proud of them. And if you listen closely enough, James Conner just had another 20-yard carry.
Bears. Like, if you're just going to be a team that just wins at home, just tell us. Clearly, you've shown it. You know, a bit of last week did seem like it rubbed off on this team. You can't say the team that went to Washington was anything like the team that played in Arizona, which is a problem, because Bears, it clearly is a psychological thing to not let Washington's offense score a touchdown until the last second of the game, compared to fucking letting this cunt run for 5,000 yards. Is two different ball games. But fortunately, you get to go back to Chicago so that you guys can go rape Patriots for no reason. Sounds about right. And of course, they're going to be 5-4, just like the rest of that fucking division. I'm off it. No, everyone in that division's going to back down to Detroit anyway.
Yeah, I know. Well, Chicago might beat them because the other two lost to them.
That's
the sport.
Chicago hasn't played any of them yet. Yeah. Now they're going to go win everything.
Look, Cardinals are alright. They're pretty good.
They're not going to win the division, though.
Yeah, but that's like, you can't hold that against them if they lose out to San Francisco. They're not as good as them.
Well, they might not even lose it to them. They might lose the Rams.
Also not as good as Rams.
But they're literally going to get a wild card, aren't they?
Yeah, they might.
They're better than Tampa.
The current Tampa, yeah.
And they're...
Well,
Eagles will get one.
Eagles will probably get... Or Commanders, depending on who wins. Yeah.
And then...
There's going to be 8 in the NFC North.
Yeah.
And then maybe...
Yeah, but it will slow down their wins when they start playing each other.
Yeah, exactly. So Cardinals, like, if you keep stacking...
Same with Cardinals, I guess so.
I guess if you guys, like, keep putting wins together, you might make it. But look, they have an identity. They stick to it. I said the Bears' defense is much better in the secondary, not against the run. And you can see that, like, physically, they were just completely dominated by James Conner and co. And then, obviously, off the back of the bat, Kyler has the opportunity to peg the ball as hard as he can at McBride, which seems to work. In the last 3 weeks, it's worked anyway.
Bears are fine. I mean, those touchdowns before half. That again.
Yeah, but like,
it was a classic touchdowns before half across all the games.
But like, why are Bears giving up? That's my question.
They're not in Chicago.
Well, they're not in Chicago, right? So I think like when Bears were pick him in Indianapolis, when they were pick him at Arizona, I was like, when they were fucking pick him at Chicago with Jaden Daniels playing, I was like, all right, this like you got to pump the brakes on these guys a little bit. They're not gods. But now, obviously, it's gone too far the other direction, where now they're going to be 5.5 against Patriots in Chicago, and Drake May is going to get stretched off the field. So, yeah, I think Bears have been a pretty easy team to gauge, where, all right, they're much better than the, like, bottom-of-the-barrel losers of the sport, and if they come to Chicago, they're going to get killed. But if they have to take the show on the road with a rookie quarterback and a terrible offensive line, they're going to underperform. And that's been pretty consistent throughout the whole season.
They're not going to do that against the fucking good teams, bruh. In the division.
I hope so. I think that would make the division much better if, you know, God forbid someone keeps it close with Lions, which I guess that's a good segue into, unfortunately, Chris.
Fuck you, Green Bay.
Which would have been an atrocious week for upset alert because there was only one game you could have won on, but unfortunately, these cunts, as I said, they're going to fucking give up, and they gave up.
What was interesting was Carolina was definitely in my selections.
I think it was your only other real
upset. But only other upset, but Green Bay, listen. What the fuck was that pick? First of all, again, it's love, right? Not Baker. He's not Baker. He's shitter than Baker. For anyone that comes at me, he's shitter than Baker. Baker's better than Herbert, Trevor, and Love. And I don't care what contract they're on.
Do you want to play a quick game for the audience?
Yeah.
I'm going to say a quarterback's name, and you tell me if you want Love or the quarterback.
All right.
All right? Dak.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'll take Love.
I'll take Love. Dak is something new. Wait. I'll take Dak.
Okay, Herbert.
Only because this cunt at least has Josh Jacobs. Who the fuck's this cunt's running back?
Zeke.
Oh, come on. At least he takes some of the load. And before that, who was it? Pollard.
He's good.
Oh, come on. He's not Josh Jacobs.
Donnie, he's all right.
When you can peg the ball running back and he can get you at least 5 yards, it's a different ball game when you're 2nd and 5 instead of being 2nd and 10 every 2 seconds. And Dak has to throw out one receiver. This guy has 20 receivers and they all catch the ball at 500 kilometers an hour.
They did in this game.
No, well, they played Detroit.
Tua?
Nah, take Love. Tua's something new.
Lawrence?
I'll take Lawrence.
You take Lawrence over Tua? Lawrence is terrible. Herbert?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Herbert's better than... No, he's not.
So you would take Lawrence over Herbert?
Yeah, I would.
What about Kyler?
I'll take Kyler over all of them.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. I can't fight you.
Because Love, like...
Caleb?
Well, he has no one to throw to.
No,
You got to reckon Tua has 2 of the quickest receivers.
I know.
That's the issue. That's what people don't understand. He's actually shit. Love, can you imagine Love had Tyreek?
Yeah, I know.
And who's Lawrence throwing to? Who's Herbert throwing to?
Bigsby.
Look, it's the franchise's fault itself, but if they had Tyreek Hill, just imagine these teams had Tyreek Hill or CeeDee Lamb. Like, it's a completely different scenario. Name me the number 1 target on the Chargers lineup. Who is it?
Bigsby as well. No, so I'm confused though, because you're saying Love's shitter than all of them.
Yeah, he is. I said Love shit from the start of the season.
So you actually think Love's shitter than all of them?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Because he has options
players.
and he fucks it up.
He has a good running back. His receiving core is pretty good.
His play calling is like
His play calling's top tier, and this guy still throws it to the other team.
Yeah. For no reason as well, yeah.
It's it's not like, he read this. He literally sees the Detroit play and threw it at him.
Yeah. And, I think people will come at us saying, Green Bay, like, they only lost to the Lions. They what are they, 7-2 or some garbage? 6-2 right now because they had a bye. Look, 2 of those wins were with Malik Willis. They beat Rams in spite of this cunt's end zone interception of his own end zone,
Yeah.
right? And genuinely, like, if he doesn't throw the pick 6, I really believe in my heart they could have beaten Lions.
They could have won.
Yeah, but to give up 7 and then come out of the gates and let them score a touchdown again, like, these cunts gave up. Because what was it, 21?
It's 3.
Yeah, well, of course you're going to give up.
And they kept stopping them. I actually was supposed to say this in the Browns game. Browns kept giving me hope because literally for the second half, I don't know how many yards Chargers made.
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
Every time it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. It was the same in the fucking Detroit game.
Yeah.
But they kept giving Green Bay hope. Love would go all the way to the 4-yard line. And let me get started on the fucking play calling. There was one situation you kept having to take field goals, which was fine because you couldn't score. But you went for it on 4th down when you could have easily taken a field goal and then you would have been within 2 scores. And the next possession you scored as well. And you would have been 1 score away. So literally, I don't know what the fuck you guys were doing. Obviously, you couldn't think because you were down by 50 to Detroit. But bad play call. You should have taken the field goal and it would have been 21-9 and you could have scored 2. You scored a touchdown, first of all. And then you would have had a 1-possession game and Detroit might have started shaking. But, like, just not taking that field goal and going for a 4th. I get it, you need to score. But if you think of it long term, you score next possession, you actually have a chance.
But
fucking idiots.
What I would also say, Chris, is at that point in the game, Lions were just like running in straight into the teeth of the defense, killing the clock.
Oh, no, I agree.
When it was actually nip and tuck, these cunts, boom, 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 touchdown, come out at halftime, boom, 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 touchdown. Like
No, I'm not saying they deserve to win.
Like who the fuck have these Lions cunts become? I mean, Aiden Hutchinson went down. I was like, okay, like there goes their ability to get to the quarterback. Who cares? These cunts just score a touchdown every time they want to. It's incredible.
Well, again, like I said, they were going run, trying to bleed the clock, but they stopped them. That's why they got the ball back and scored. Dumbasses. Anyway, but when it was actually competitive, Detroit were better than them overall. So it doesn't say a lot, this division, right? Let's hope Detroit do lose to the only other team in the division that hasn't played them yet, i.e. Bears. And they can't stop the run as we just saw against fucking Arizona.
Fuck's sake. So Lions have won in Minnesota and Green Bay.
So whoever's going to go to Detroit, like when they go to Detroit, good luck. But
I think Vikings can beat them.
That Vikings can beat them. But I don't know. Like this Detroit team, look,
The gods, man. Fuck
Just
off,
wait.
cunts.
I'm
I know.
gonna say it for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
Just wait.
I feel like they peaked a little too early.
They're gonna be so high, and it's gonna be some degenerate. Everyone's gonna think some teams like gods are gonna beat them. It literally might be Bears.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So we'll see what happens with Lions, but again, like under the conditions where all the sharps, all the like anyone
And
that
they
knows
keep taking them
anything,
and they keep winning.
all the sharps were all over Green Bay, better down from 5 to 4 to 3, all the way to 2, and even the 5 wouldn't have covered in the end. So fair play to Detroit. I think like they were
They're
probably the
gods.
most impressive win of the fucking week by far. And onto the most torturous game of the entire weekend was this Rams and Seahawks game where talk about back and forth, like in a pick'em contest that ends up going to overtime and goes down to a
Great
Matthew
game.
Stafford 50-yard like touchdown. If you took Rams, it was such torture until the final play where you're like, oh, my bet won. And you can actually think of like, wow, like that was actually a crazy game. If you just watched it as a neutral fan, you were like entertained to the fucking brink. And if you took Seahawks, you feel like, God, like, how do these cunts come away losing that game?
They're shit.
But they are shit, right? Like, from the quit job of 1 minute to go at halftime for you, Rams to concede 2 touchdowns and go down 13-3. Even Seahawks missed the extra point. It was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? But for Rams to have all that, have 3 points by the end of it, you're like, what what are these guys doing? And Puka gets ejected for throwing a punch. First of all, like, I never understood why cunts were punching people with helmets on, but that's beyond me. And now it's legit like Cooper Kupp or bust in the second half, and these cunts actually won with Cooper Kupp. So again, like the resilience of Stafford and McVay and this Rams organization defensively, losing Aaron Donald and replacing him with some weirdo. They have Donald 2.0. I forget his name, but he fucking was molesting Gino the whole day. And Gino, occasionally he'll be like, yeah, look, I know I've gotten 70 yards of shot. I'm just going to peg it at one of the other opposition players. And he did that. 106-yard touchdown return. How is that even possible? It's like you picked the corner of the end zone and then just all the way 100 yards. So that's a 14-point swing. And if anything, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like Seahawks were probably the right side. But
No,
Gino, like,
they're really bad.
as good as he is on the deep ball connections, and the Rams, like, they really fucked it up in the secondary a couple times. Couple phantom penalties as well took points off the board for Seattle. But to go 4th and 1 and go for it in overtime, I know I'm Mr. Aggressive play calling personally, but I feel like that was the wrong call. Because I'm like, these guys are going to not get it, aren't they? And once that happens, then you only need a field goal from Stafford, and he's going to get that pretty easily in the end.
That was the game when they didn't get it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, even though I thought Staffy should have got a field goal in regulation. But again, your quarterback analysis before, Staffy's not even like...
Oh, man.
He's a tier above these kinds.
I think Staffy's closer to the...
Goff and...
No, oh God, no. Don't worry about Goff. I think Staffy, like... You could argue he's closer to the Allen Lamar category than even the Tua and fucking those losers.
But he does have, like, 2 absolute weapons.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
Puka,
he won a Super Bowl there, right?
I mean, Puka, how are you always
open?
I don't understand. Obviously, you threw a punch, but anyway.
Yeah.
You got a bit red hot, cut your hair, no nonsense. But obviously, Cub is just Mr. Reliable. He's always there. And my issue is, the podcast didn't exist last year, but at this point is when I said Rams are going to make the playoffs, they're gone. But now everyone's caught on to my garbage.
Yeah, it seems...
Which means it's a bit of a problem, which means it's not going to happen this time.
Yeah, well, as long as it's not Dolphins of War, that's...
But their division has become so easy. Last year was more like, oh yeah, maybe they'll make it, but they will. Well, maybe they're the only team to take down Detroit. With this offense, they can. It seems like they can do it.
I think they might be the only team that can bring down Cardinals as well.
Oh, well, we'll get to that.
Which actually they already got raped by them, which is funny as fuck.
Yeah, when they quit.
Okay,
Is that the whole 8 a.m.? Is there another game?
Now we move on to the most like rewarding game of the round.
Because Colts finally
finally you let the confetti drop on the Back Yourself podcast table. Colts finally through Shane Steichen didn't cover a game. And
why did they cover, bro?
Because he put the wrong quarterback in the match. And I said, look, Anthony Richardson's fucking terrible. And I really wish he played because I know they would have got raped by more than 20 points. But this was a major sweat for pretty much, I want to say, 57 minutes of this match. And everything went in the Colts' favor. A fumble return touchdown was the only points of the first half where they went up 7-0 because
apparently you can pick up.
Apparently you can just get Donald's helmet and smash him while it's on his head into the ground, and they'll throw a flag, but then they'll be like, no, actually that was halal. They'll pick it up off the floor, and Vikings will go on a 90-yard touchdown drive, except it's not a touchdown drive because Donald just throws it at one of the Colts players. But in the end,
when are they going to quit?
Vikings?
No, Colts.
Soon.
Yeah.
But in the end, justice prevailed, and the Vikings offense really got really fucking angry in the second half. And Aaron Jones of War was carrying the ball for pretty much 10 yards a clip. The Colts defensive players sort of got tired, and the pressure that wasn't there that really pissed me off with these cunts against Rams last week finally came to fruition. And if anything, I heard the Colts have the best offensive line in the NFL, and didn't really see much of Jonathan Taylor throughout the game, and they got to Flacco multiple times and brought him down, especially at the end of the game. So
I do wish it was Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson definitely could have gotten away from those pressures, but he would have just pegged the ball at one of the Vikings DBs anyway, so who gives a shit? Colts don't cover and everything's right in the wall.
Oh, this Vikings offense is scary hours.
Yeah.
With everyone back now. Whew.
Bro, you look here, there's Addison, you look there, there's Jefferson, Hawkinson's in the middle.
And Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones is gone. They're really
just Sam
good.
Darnold is
yeah.
That's all it is.
A few, too many interceptions from Donald, though. It was, really concerning.
Shit. So, he's not better than Love.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Well, he won't be there next year. They'll have that McCarthy guy.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Onto is it my segment?
You have no comments for Colts.
I've got nothing to say. I'm waiting on my clock.
All right.
When are they going to quit?
Soon.
Yeah, I know, but...
Okay. All right, Yalla, take your victory lap.
All right, listen. Sharp Up Blunt's undefeatable. It's literally undefeatable. There was no reason for Tampa to go cover, but they did, didn't they? And shout out Baker. Like I said, this cunt's better than 90% of these quarterbacks, and they're all fucking garbage. Baker had nothing. Literally nothing, and he still went there and took it to overtime. Chiefs, I said this around round 3, until they're beaten, I don't want to hear any other team has a chance against anything. And they're shit, but they keep winning. And many teams have played shit and lost. These guys just don't lose. Now, you could say the refs are on their side, they get a lot of calls.
Did you see that false start?
Yeah. Did you see the...
Incredible.
Did you see the Mahomes throwing it past the scrimmage line? For the touchdown?
No, well, it's different because the scrimmage line for Mahomes is 5 yards further down the field than every other quarterback.
Until they are beaten, I don't want to hear about Lamar. I don't want to hear about Goff. I don't want to hear about any of these teams that are contenders, because if they're 8-0, you can't aren't 8-0, first of all, and they've won back-to-back Super Bowls. So they've proven it in the postseason. They've proven it now in the regular season. Fuck off. None of these cunts are even in the conversation. Are they Penrith? We'll have to see and wait. But Tampa, I think you've mailed it in after this.
Yeah. Now you can give up.
They've won. This is week 10, right? 9 weeks straight I've tipped them right. 9-0. And I think they're going to give up. So it will be 10. I think it's over. Falcons winning, them losing. No players. They have to play San Fran off a bye. They're going to give up.
They're dead.
Chiefs keep doing what they need to do, and Spags definitely. He was at the beach.
He's still there.
He did not give a shit.
He's still there.
None of the team actually cared, but they won anyway.
Yeah. Thank God for Baker. Obviously, the pod gives out over 45.5 total points in this one. In the torrential downpour, Baker constructs a fucking 80-yard touchdown drive to send it into overtime. Again, Todd Bowles, not an analytics guru by any stretch of the imagination, but essentially... Would you rather, Chris, have a 50-50 chance of giving Mahomes the ball in overtime, or have a 50-50 chance of you getting a 2-point conversion ending the match? And even if you win the coin toss, there's no... Baker has to go on another 80-yard touchdown drive. What is he, some god against that defense? No way. You could have just ended it right then and there, but you chose to fucking pussy out.
I would have went for it.
Yeah, I would go for it. But Baker, I can't believe you fucking... at least took these pricks to overtime. Lamar didn't do that. Burrow didn't do that. Allen's probably not going to do that. At least, without Godwin, without Evans, without fucking anyone, if those cunts played, you probably would have won, right? Yeah. So, shout out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 9 weeks, you guys have not mailed it in. You try every week.
Well, no, they've mailed it in.
with no injuries or limited injuries, at least not to your best players, your top 3 wideouts, you are better than Falcons and you would win the NFC South, but it's just not your year. And at least like you have a quarterback with some ticker back there calling plays, and he can galvanize the team for sure. Chiefs, you win again. Fair play. You weren't great for the 50th week in a row, but you've won 14 in a row, so who am I to call you guys out? Well played. Situationally, probably rivaling New England from Brady's day of the best teams I've seen under pressure in a very long time. Even when they're down, when you think they're out, when Mahomes is limping with an ankle injury, he magically fucking heals and he has no pain anymore and he comes on and wins the game anyway. So, yeah, shout out to Kansas City. Another big win. Good job. I'm so proud of you guys. And I can't wait for you to win another 100 games in a row. So pleasurable to watch. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah, good way to end it.
Good way to end it.
All right. Since you guys do nothing for me, at least make sure you tune in to the preview of Week 10. We'll be coming out tomorrow with that. And there's going to be some me screaming at a lot of teams because coming off 14 favorites winning in a week, I'm expecting some inbreds to start winning. And I'm expecting you to swing for the fences on upset alert, mate.
What Saints?
Full send on someone.
Saints.
Whoever you like, mate. I trust you.
Cowboys.
I'm going to do lock of the week Saints. So you're technically by law not allowed to give them out because I don't want to hear anything about Saints.
Why? Because you know them.
Yeah, I know them.
All right. Well, I will see you guys for the Week 10 preview.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Peace.